folks, it is the Nutty Knife Guy, and it's 4:06 a.m. on Sunday, May 1st. I'm recording this first segment of this the night before. I'm going to go to bed when I'm done and get up at the crack of noon, and sometime during the day film the rest of the video. We get people coming in and out of the house right now, and everything is chaotic. So when I don't find someplace to leave and escape, I just kind of hide down here in my office and wait for them to go away, wait for people to go away and leave me alone. But right now I have some time, and I'm going to bring to you a knife. But first, I'm just going to let you know, I don't know if I'll be able to start it this week for the aforementioned reasons, but soon, probably the week after next, or I guess this week now, but first part of May, I'm going to start doing short, like first impression reviews, or just impression reviews of some knives in my collection. Probably on Wednesdays. I'm going to try not to keep it on Wednesdays, because I usually upload on Sunday. So I'm going to try to do little ones Wednesday and then my normal Warpost ones on Sundays. And the reason for this is I was looking at a collection. I've got knives that I would love to do at the Warpost, but reasonably, I'm never going to get them to the Warpost. And I keep buying new knives, and some of them will get to the Warpost and not. So I'm going to maybe pick out 1 or 2 knives a week and just do, not a review of them, but just tell you about them and give you interesting highlights. And now, if you see something in those videos that you want a full Warpost on, let me know in the comments on those videos, and I will try and make it happen. So there's that. Let me know in the comments of this video if you think that's a good idea, something you want to see. But today's knife is the Nedfoss huge pocket knife. That's what they call it. And she is a big boy. And she is a big boy. Hey, I'm politically correct. It's a he/she. But, she's a big girl. Not only is she big, she's heavy. She weighs 3/4 of a pound. You know this is in your pocket. I have been carrying this around. Now, I'm not a person that really cares most generally if something's heavy, and I feel it in my pocket a little bit, but this is as heavy as I want to carry. This is has been probationarily, but in my EDC collection on a probation basis until I take it to the Warpost and see if it holds up, which I hope it does, because I actually like to carry this thing. It's a lot of fun, but it's got some weird design quirks. But this is, again, the Nedfoss huge pocket knife. I've never had this is my only Nedfoss. The great D-Bad got a fixed blade Nedfoss that he liked, so I figured I'd give Nedfoss a try, because it's one of those companies that I've been thinking about and seeing on the internet. They're all over the place on Amazon, and they always look good, and I had good reviews, but I never pulled the trigger on one, so I thought I'd try one, and so far this is cool. It has some interesting design features. Rosewood handles. Did they tell me what kind of steel I have? You know, Amazon doesn't list the type of steel, but I think I found it someplace else as 440C, which is not bad. But I'm not sure about that. If I remember, I'll look it up and I'll put it in the comments. If I can find it. Rosewood handles. She's pretty thick in here. Good lockup. Hang on a second. I used this in my Beware Cold Steel thing to demonstrate that a much less respected knife has better lockup than some of the cold steels, the liner locks. Good lockup. Blade centering is spot on. Pocket clip works. It came quite sharp. I have not sharpened it. I got some things here. I just got another new knife in today, so I've been playing with it. So I've got some paper that I've already cut out. Good factory edge. Like I said, some design quirks. First of all, on the locking bar, it's got a pad here, so you can get good thumb on it to disengage that lock. And that works very well. It makes it easy to disengage that lock and close this one-handed. By the way, this also flips open pretty easy. Of course, when I did it for you guys the first time, I failed miserably. That's just the law of videos. Now, that's a good idea, especially on a knife this size. But you also notice it's got kind of a double cutout there for that. And the reason for that is, unless you get your joint right in here on that pad, it makes it uncomfortable to hold, unless you put your finger up here in this other secondary opening here, and then it feels great. And when you get it like that, it feels great in the hand then. At least in my size hands, the clip doesn't bite. And I think this, it has a lanyard hole, and I don't usually put lanyards on mine, but I did this for two reasons. First of all, this knife is big enough and heavy enough that if you needed to chop with it, theoretically you could. Now, theoretically, because I say theoretically because I haven't tested it yet. You will see me test it hopefully tomorrow. We're supposed to get rain. It's one of the reasons I'm taping now too. Hopefully I'll be able to get out there before the rain starts. I don't know. But now I made a chain knot out of this. If I do lanyards, this is the way I do it. I don't like the ones that have that big loop that flops around and gets caught on things. This can get caught on things, but not as easily. But something my grandpa showed me. That on a knife like this, you can wrap this tight around, like so, and pinch it between the handle and the blade. I mean, and the handle and your hand, and get a more positive grip so you can get way down on this knife. And this knife is long enough and heavy enough that you can probably chop with it pretty well. I will put that to the test. Okay, now of course you can just have a regular lanyard with a loop around your wrist too. That'll work. After I get done testing this and trying that method, this lanyard's coming off. I don't like lanyards. Another reason I put a lanyard on this though is also the positioning of the lanyard hole in relation to the pocket clip may be a problem. You can see how this can rub up against the clip. And over time, that could just rub right on through paracord, especially some of the cheaper paracords you can have. Like this. I took this paracord off the handle of a cheap Walmart $10 survival knife because I'm going to repurpose that blade into a kind of a project, which when I get it done, I'll show you. So, first impressions, I got to say, I like it. It feels good in the hand. Good lockup. Quick deployment. Matter of fact, I like that deployment better than I like using the disc, but both work. Handsome blade, of course. You got that nice, I would call that a spear point, some would call that a drop point. And the thing is, this is Nedfoss. I think I paid $26 for that, not American for this. Yeah, $25.99. They say it's 28% off, so maybe. But for a knife this size, and everything is nice and tight and solid, good fit and finish, and a well thought out design. Now, I've said this before, it's my pet peeve. A lot of designs, even from big companies, will get a design that looks cool. And I think that they don't ever have anybody, they don't make a prototype and have somebody hold it in their hand and try to use it, or at least imagine what it would feel like to be used. They thought this out. Okay, we got this in here, we've got our hand on it. Okay, that tab makes it easy to open, and that tab makes it easy to close, but it digs into your fingers. We need a place, so we'll give them a place to put their finger and get it away from that tab. That's a well-considered design. The lanyard hole being that close to the pocket clip may be plot problematic. I don't know. If there's anybody out there has one of these and has had that clip rubbed through a lanyard, let me know. But I don't know if that'll be a problem or not. I don't have that much experience with lanyards because, as I said, I don't like them. So in that way, respect, it's a well thought out design. Now there are some nitpicks that I think could be done better. It has a thumb ramp that is very well positioned and has a very comfortable angle for your thumb. But it's not, there's no jimping on it. And I question even having a thumb ramp without any jimping. It's not going to add that too much work in the machining process. And I pay a couple extra bucks for that, and it makes it much more useful. So, but having said that, this is a pretty nimble blade for as heavy as it is. Okay, so it's 28% off, so this would have been 35, 40 bucks. Even at that, this is not it wouldn't be a bad bid for $26. I am very happy with it so far. We'll put it to the post and do all the testing that I normally do. But I gotta tell you, right now I'm digging it. I'm going to see about other Nedfoss products to see if their quality is consistent. But this is they may be one of the budget brands that you really do get more value for your money. Now, I just got this in today, and I kind of bought this one for the same reason. And I want to Warpost this one because this is an Evengrow, or however. This is another one of those companies that's all over Amazon. And it's another one of those companies I said, do I want to try that? I mean, they're an off-brand. They make almost direct copies of popular brands from more reputable companies. Do I really want to try it? And then I said, that's one of the reasons I started this channel, is to take these brands that knife people may overlook, or I just don't want to spend the money on in case they're crap, or newbies wondering why, or not even newbies, but just people that don't want to pay $300 for the real McCoy, but like the design of the knife. That's one of those things I think it's important for the knife people, for the knife people on YouTube to go to those brands. Because it's interesting. I can take something from Cold Steeler, Ontario, one of the more established, brands that people really, really like, very popular brands. And even if that knife has been reviewed 3,000 times on the internet from a company that everybody knows the reputation of, I get views like crazy on those knives. And then something that you would think that, like this, there's actually a few table read views. This is an Evengrow something 55. Let me call that up. This is the EF55, which is, I understand, a pretty close copy design-wise to the Microtech SOCOM. And that's one of the reasons I bought it. It's just different enough when it comes to overall design that Microtech doesn't sue them. Now, do I think this is as good in terms of workmanship as material as Microtech? Of course not. I don't own any Microtech knives. I've handled a few of them, and honestly, although they do seem very good, I don't think that $300 for a knife is justified. I mean, it would be hard for me to justify that kind of money for any knife that isn't something like my custom-made, self-designed, self-care fighting knife here. But for a mass-produced knife, $300, come on, people. That's just an opinion. But I do want a Microtech for the collection, and if I can find one in stock, which so far I haven't been, having handled this, I'm going to want to get the Microtech SOCOM. But that's not about this video, but that's not what this video is about. But I wanted to mention that because these two brands are like these off-name brands, these budget brands that you just, I mean, you look up knives on the internet and they got hundreds of these things for sale. And that's one of the reasons I wanted to do, I made this channel. Because so few of these knife reviewers want to do these kind of knives. Because they're made in China and they're inexpensive and they have a stigma. And the Microtech cultist and the Benchmade cultist and just these people that insist on paying at least $100 for a knife would overlook. And that's a shame because when, again, I've said this before, when non-knife people go to buy a knife that may be the only knife they have, they're going to make it for the camping knife or the hunting knife. They're not collectors, they're not knife aficionados, they just need something that's going to work for them. But they want something that's going to work for them and that's going to last at least a little while, at least last one season of camping or hunting. And they go online and look at reviews, and all they can find is the really high-end reviews on the really high-end stuff. And there's nothing there to help them choose between the budget brands if they're going to get a budget brand knife. And that's what I try to do. So I bought both of these knives basically for the channel to do them. But the thing of it is, I like both of them. I have carried this one a few times in my EDC rotation, and if it holds up, it's going to stay there. This is going to be one of the three really big folders that I have. I keep a Cold Steel Spartan and a Cold Steel Voyager in my rotation. Now those are way lighter than this and better materials and everything. But in terms of workmanship, in my opinion, this is right up there with them. Materials, yeah, that's different. But those knives cost a lot more than this. So that's it for now. It is almost 4:30 and I really should get to bed. But I needed to save some time tomorrow, so I figured I'd get the first part of this in. And hopefully it will be Sunday morning. Well, it's Sunday morning now, but hopefully it will be around 9 or 10 o'clock Sunday morning when I do the testing. And I'm hoping to have the video uploaded in the 1 or 2-ish area. But I'm not sure. I just want to get this in. So I will test. As soon as I get up and go through my wake-up ritual and escape and evade the domestic trivia going on, and to put it to the post. And if I can, if the weather's good, you're going to get a preview of the Warpost 2.0. I bought all the hardware I need for the Warpost 2.0. So the Warpost, as you have known and hopefully loved, will be retired. I'm going to keep it around because I have some ideas to use it, but I'm actually bought stuff specifically to make a Warpost and not just scraps. I'm not going to make it out of scraps that I found around the garage. I've got actual hardware with an, so I'm going to make something that was intended from the outset to be filming it in a practice target. So hopefully, if the weather holds, if I have the weather, I can show you where that's going, and hopefully, when I film next week on a Sunday, my Sunday video when I do the Warpost will be with the new Warpost, and we will go and take the Nedfoss huge pocket knife out and see if it is worthy to be among my EDC knives. We shall see. And goodbye for now to the Warpost. Okay, folks. No detergent bottle available today, so I've got a empty tea bottle hung in a plastic bag, but it ought to do for what we're going to, for our purposes. Got my gloves on for this one just in case. I'm not going to be able to show you my Warpost 2.0 material because the neighbors are out front and making noise. But we can do the Warpost. And these gloves are probably going to be a fixture when I tux folders. Okay. You know, it is kind of amazing how a little bit of plastic can affect your cut. I did get a little bit through, but not much. Let's try a different angle. Yeah. This is actually cutting a little differently than because it has more give. Now the thrust, that's a whole different story. I got through all three of those, but the plastic does make a big difference. It tends to glide off and absorb some of the impact. But it does cut. There's even a little water left in the bottoms. Let's see here. Try this way. And the bag ripped. That's really interesting, and I don't know if that has anything more to do than a knife. And a knife is a material that is freestanding, but now see, this cut was clean enough that it goes back together, and not a lot of water leaked out of that. Let's see what about this water down in the bottom here. Yeah, see, that didn't have enough oomph to get through. Let's see if I can do it with a little better technique. Yeah, that was better technique. Yeah, we're just holding it that way. I'm just not hitting it right. But we can do a penetration. And the bottom's pretty thick. Okay, let's try that from the side. Bottom is thick. Oh, I'm doing well today. Yeah, we're getting a lot of give. There's just nothing there. But that was clean enough, even though it got kind of jagged as it went through, that the seam still fit. So it's not the same medium that we're used to cutting, so the results are going to be different. Okay. I don't have a decent vampire deterrent, so we'll use Old Faithful here. Got some of the T label on the blade. Let's find the right angle for this. This takes a pretty steep angle for feather sticking, but it can be done. And I think I did lose some sharpness. Okay. Now we'll do that again after the Warpost. Okay, now it's too heavy to hold on its own, but it's not a bad bite. Okay. Remember why I wear gloves, folks. What happened was, the liner lock didn't fail. It failed this way, because it looks like the locking pin came completely out. I wonder if I can find it. Well, I'm not seeing it. I'll go get a magnet and see if I can locate it. But, and hopefully I'll fix it, but it ain't gonna be my EDC rotation even if I do. And that's a shame. But the gloves paid for themselves. Well, folks, here it is. I could not find the part that failed, but here you go. Now the liner lock held fine, but the pivot screw came completely out after, what, 5 or 6 whacks? I have not been able to find that so far. I'm going to go out and make a more thorough search. If I find it, I'll Loctite it in. Maybe even Gorilla Glue it in and put this in my collection, but an EDC it will never be. And it's a shame because there's so much to like about this knife, but no excuse, man. And yeah, I mean, there's the usual thing people are going to say, that most people don't bash their knives up against pressure treated wood and cut wattles with them and do spine wax and all this other stuff. But the nature of that thing, this thing just worked loose. That pin just worked loose. So, I mean, if it works loose like that, you know, if you carry it every day in your pocket for a couple of weeks or a couple of months, it could conceivably work out just from the motion of being in your pocket, or and let alone taking it out, because I know everybody does it. I mean, they take their knives out for the day. It's not, here you go, precious. It's plunk on the table. And repeatedly, the way that thing worked out, that's what could have happened with this. And as I said, it's a shame. It's beautiful and solidly built, except for that. I don't know if Nedfoss has a warranty. I don't think so. I will check. And then, of course, I will argue with them about bashing it up against pressure-treated wood. Or maybe if I can't find that pin, I can order a replacement part. But, yeah, I would have to find a way to secure that pin. Now, I said the gloves paid for themselves, and they did. I paid $10 or $15, I can't remember, at Rural King. These are just workers' gloves. They're supposed to give you some cushion against, you know, impact and some cut protection. Now this wouldn't have cut me the way it failed because it was just coming back, but I did feel it hit my knuckle. Just a bit. I really, because I think when it must have happened something like this, when it failed, it twisted in my hand. that would have been a nice bruise. I mean, I felt it enough, but you know, I'm really glad I had those gloves on. So I am going to edit this video and post this video. Then I'm going to go out and get a strong magnet that I have and see if I can find that pin. I think this part of it is magnetic. If it's not, I'm screwed. I think I've got a small magnet in my pocket. Now I've got a magnetic closure on one of my sheets here. Yeah, that seems to be magnetic. So hopefully I'll be able to find the pin. And what I will do is I'll put it in and I'll Gorilla Glue it, or I'll Loctite it. I'm thinking Gorilla Glue. And I will retest it, but I will never have enough confidence in this thing to carry it. And it is such a shame because it's a very nice knife. But, you know, that's one of the reasons you test knives. If you rely on your knives for protection or for a camp knife, anything that's going to affect your comfort or your survival, potentially, you need to know that they're not going to fail. So, but in this case, the Warpost claims another victim. Like I said, do let me know what you think about the short videos, 5 or 10 minutes on Wednesdays. Just kind of running down knives that might not make it to the Warpost. Hopefully I will do one of those Wednesday. And hopefully the next Warpost I do will have the new Warpost. The new and improved Warpost 2.0. There you have it. Nedfoss, excuse me, huge folder. Utter and pretty much complete failure. Probably fixable, but that won't restore my confidence in it or give me any confidence in it, because it shouldn't happen in the first place. And with that, I leave you with my usual admonishment. 2. Draw your knives only in just purpose. Sheathe them only with honor. And to remember that without lives, I'm going to reach over here and get a knife. Well, wait, I think I got them here. I'm going to give you my usual, and I'm going to give you my parting statement with a knife that actually works. Remember that without knives, life would be dull and pointless. Please like, share, and subscribe. Feed the almighty YouTube algorithm. All hail the algorithm. Help the channel grow. And with that, I bid you goodbye. 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 Where? Damn you.